Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the lab, your semi bi-weekly and whenever we feel like it and are able to with our adult lives record episodes.
We got kids to feed.
Semi episodic, semi-weekly, monthly podcast. But we're here looking at week 14. It is the final push into whether you're making the playoffs or not, whether you're trying to get that bye week, whether you're still trying to hope for the best going into your consolation bracket, whatever it may be. We're here to try to help you figure that out, or at least tell you what we're thinking and what we're going to do, whether there's some league winners out there, there's other strategies that we want to walk through. But before we get into any of that, bro, we figured out, we did talk before this because even though we're friends,
we didn't even call each other first.
I know. We're not even, this is
got Christmas spirit going on here.
We somehow coordinated our looks here a little bit, some of us more festive than others, but whatever, black hoodie, that's fine.
Listen, this is for our season, and this is for the draft, because that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for playoff spot in fantasy, a lot of people, or the bye week. I'll add one more. I'm in a couple of leagues, I'm fighting for a higher seed so that I'm less likely to play a couple powerhouses until the championship.
Smart.
And I'm just hoping I get lucky and they get knocked out. So
Smart.
I know I can't get bye week in a couple, but I'm like, if I can get third place, fourth instead of sixth, I might get an extra week without having to play some of these juggernauts.
End up on the other side of the bracket. Yeah.
But for the Browns, we're fighting our way down. We are fighting to try to get to the first overall pick because that's our season. But you guys still got a shot.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at a way to get the second year in a row into the playoffs for the first time since the 09, 2010 Chargers. So excited about those prospects, but we've got a hard road ahead of us. Five teams that are looking awesome or are desperate. One of those two things are true of all the teams we're playing.
Oh, yeah, they're cornered. That's dangerous.
The super desperate Chiefs are coming up. We've got the Eagles who haven't been looking good. We've got Dallas and the two Texas teams, Dallas and the Texans, that are suddenly playing way above their weight class. And then we got the Broncos, who somehow are leading the AFC West. I still think they're a fraud team, but it's fine. We got them two coming up. So we got an uphill, even though we have a wild card spot right now, we do have an uphill battle to go, especially with our quarterback in flux and an O-line that is ranked tangent. Our O-line is ranked last in the league. Yeah, Justin Herbert still is second in pass yards and the third most rushing quarterback in the league. So just imagine.
Do you think it's going to be just as good with Trey Lance, or do you think it's going to be better?
You know what? The rushing might be better.
Well, you guys are going to try to be rushing Herbert back. So we're going to cover week 14 because it's the final push to get you into a better position, whether it's bye week into the playoffs or a higher up on the seeds. And then we have another episode we'll come out with about playoff in general, who to stash, who to grab ahead of time, who you might start above some of your players that you've been starting all year, because you got to look at just that situation. And then some tips and tricks of just not getting too cute with some of the stuff. But that's another episode. Right now we're focusing on week 14 because you got to get there first. Nate and I usually we'll do some episodes that are around this type of thing that's more specific or format specific or different types of league types or commissioner troubles that we're talking through. We got a lot of interesting ones coming up. One of the things that we want to kind of just quickly mention, or we'll mention on every video coming up, we're going to do a more in-depth reminder of what playoff, real NFL playoff leagues, fantasy football leagues that are based in NFL playoffs that we do postseason. It's kind of a nice tradition we started of the commissioners that run the leagues that we run. We kind of end the season with just a 3 or 4 person league and in different formats that are just fun to and it's fun because it's 1 or 2 leagues total and you're not paying attention to a bunch and it's not as in depth. And it gives you something different to watch for playoffs. And what we wanted to do this year is take one listener from our subscribers, anybody who comments on this episode, the next one, until the end when we choose and announce who we're going to bring in. And we do a pot in these. So we would just cover your pot. You would jump in and you would play with us. And if you're interested in that, go ahead and make sure you're subscribed if you're not. share it to other people who you might think would be interested in trying something new out. And then we'll go over it in a separate episode of like what all that entails. But I don't even think I can look at the likes, but like just helps likes, like subscribe to all the things.
We'll dig into it a little more. The postseason fun fantasy is especially great for folks that are fans of teams like the Cleveland Browns because there's nothing else to watch in the postseason. So might as well
like to watch them in the regular season, to be quite honest with you. My favorite football team is my fantasy football team, but this is the Fantasy Football Lab, and we're going to get into week 14 now.
Welcome to the Fantasy Football Lab.
Okay, so you might be desperate, like I am in a few leagues. No, please continue.
The music keeps playing in my head when we do that stuff, so I just go.
We need a verse. Well, one of us used to be in a boy band, so maybe you can come up with that. New England Patriots are on bye this week. New York Giants are on bye this week. The 49ers and Panthers. So there's a decent chance that you are in a little bit of trouble. My one of my leagues, a couple of my leagues actually, my entire bench is on bye, and I'm fortunate enough that the matchups, everything work out for me, and I think I might be in on those, but you might not be. You might be kind of struggling and looking for, who do I pick up? Who can I start? Who can I have trust in? Or do I need to start somebody? And there's good news and bad news. Good news is there's some players that might be coming back. You might have been stashing Hampton. You might have just had a couple other players like Bucky Irving come back. And then there's some rising people that are kind of coming out of the woodworks that you might be able to even pick up off of waiver. So we'll go through those. First off, who is do you have a specific like streaming quarterback that you want to throw out there? Because I think that's one of the big ones too. Just at this point, if you like, Maye is a big one. Dart finally came back. It's a big one. A lot of people have been usually finding alternatives with Purdy. I know that Young, I'm like in a double or super flex, that he's one of the people on my bench that I'm a little bit worried that like, who do I fill with? I have Sanders in there right now. Don't know why, but there are probably some better ones on the waiver for you.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who's available in your league, there's some great names that are out there. People that aren't being touched too much right now, but Jared Goff already played, so I don't want to talk about Jared Goff. I realize that I can't.
I'll throw one out quick because this is somebody who, and my neighbor went to me with this question. He said his Dart is the quarterback that he has that's on bye, and he was deciding between playing Lawrence, Stroud, both of those he has on his team. Lawrence might be on your waiver, or I suggested possibly, I'm going to call him Suge Knight. What's the Suge?
Tyler Shough.
Shough. Anyways, New Orleans quarterback.
Not Spencer Rattler, whoever that guy is.
That's who, I was trying to think with my neighbor. Who was this before him? But I said that because he's already in the playoffs. He does want to work on his seeding, or I think Tyrod Taylor was the other option there too. And in one of the leagues, I think I am starting Tyrod Taylor. But if you're in the playoffs and you have that luxury of, I guess, taking the strategy of like, you want to either have that safety, like a good handcuff, or a lotto ticket. And I feel like he might be like, he hasn't had a long opportunity yet. He's proven that he can perform at a high level, and he's a rookie. So there's a variable there's that unknown that's there. He might get outscored by all of those other quarterbacks. But if I'm in the playoffs already, I'd be willing to take the risk, because what if he is bigger than that? What if he does have this great playoff push with pretty good matchups? Then he might end up taking over. Or if Dart, who just came back from an injury and plays recklessly, I might be more confident with him over some of these other backups, and just having like I know the limit of Tyrod Taylor. I know the limit really of Lawrence, and Stroud is like not exciting either. We don't know the ceiling of him, and we don't know really what the floor is, since he's only had a few weeks to go.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out. He is someone it's kind of been gaining traction anyway going into these last couple of weeks. So I'd trust it. And I like what you're saying about, at least you have the value of the unknown ahead of you, where you have some limitations with these other guys. Most of the other guys that I was thinking through were probably rostered in your leagues. But if he's not yet, we just learned that Kyler's definitely not coming back this year. So Jacoby Brissett's still sitting out there. It's an option.
Especially this week, people might have gotten desperate because the other players that are on bye, and some of these players might hit that waiver wire.
Yeah, for sure. So, and that's what we'll talk about, the waiver wire things and strategy there. But because of some of the things people were going to do, like you said, there might be more availability than you anticipate on some folks getting dropped. So that's a good call out.
All right. Devin Neal for running back is another one where he, with Kamara out, he's got a decent matchup. Tampa Bay has struggled against the running backs, and he saw 17 opportunities last week and played 82% of the snaps. He's not like an extremely sexy player, but he is available in a lot of places, and it's one of those players that it might end up being something that you use way more than you think you're about to throughout the playoffs, especially like if he runs with this and he had 7 carries a week before, but he had 7 targets also, and then 14 attempts and then 3 targets. He's catching a high percentage of them, all of them last week. He could take a step up. We're not sure. Going into the playoffs, he's got week 1, and then the other 2 weeks aren't like 16, 17. Jets and Tennessee aren't too crazy. It's a good unknown one again that you can throw out. For the most part, this time of year, people have rostered most of the ones that have a higher percentage. So you're looking for these new names, and that could be a good one for you.
Yeah, it's a good call out too. I think some folks that have been sitting around that you're been waiting to see what they're going to look like. All right, anyway, for running backs, if you're looking at who to start this week, and if you got folks that are kind of floating around out there, he is still getting a lot of the red zone work and the effort that's out there. And this is scary. We're going to talk about these guys a little bit later in today's episode or in a future episode. But Kareem Hunt is only owned in 73% of leagues right now. So it's an option for you out there that's still someone that's faithful, that's going to get you double-digit fantasy points. And if you need a floor, that's someone that could be available in your leagues today, and someone that I'm trusting. And then as far as folks that we're calling out here, Chase Brown is kind of a lock. Going against Buffalo's got a great setup with Buffalo allowing so many rushing touchdowns this year and 31st in yards per carry. You got a great chance with Chase Brown if you're questioning him or Buffalo's defense. So it's a good option for you too.
A wide receiver I'm excited about is for both this week and the playoffs, even though he's got a couple tougher ones. If Marvin Harrison lingers, Michael Wilson without him has been outstanding with Brissett. And they got some tough matchups, but I don't think I'm letting that dissuade me. If I've got a flex spot available, there's not many people that if you fill out your running backs, you fill out your wide receivers, and you're filling out your flex, there's not too many people that are going to have another one as strong as what I think Michael Wilson probably is for the remainder of the time that Harrison is out, however long that is. But starting with this week, he's ruled out. So I think you can plug him in even against a tough matchup, and he's going to get you similar more to anybody else that's on your bench, but he's got an upside there that 32 points or so, and then 18 points or 19 points he had a couple weeks ago, and against not amazing defenses, but that's pretty much the only person he throws to. It's him and McBride.
Yeah. For me, a wide receiver that like this at the beginning of the year or any other season in any other situation, you go like, this is dumb to talk about. Obviously, you're starting and playing this guy, but I think we have to talk about him as someone that trusts still is Mr. Jetta himself, Justin Jefferson. It's not looked great, right? Last couple weeks, especially, we used to talk about him as being super quarterback agnostic. And with his quarterback play as bad as it's been since Carson Wentz isn't playing anymore, it's hard to trust. And we'll talk about panic meters eventually, but I think in this situation, going up against Washington in week 14, we need to trust points. Washington is a 31st ranked defense against wide receivers. Jefferson still got that him in him. And we have seen McCarthy go to him, right? And we're getting McCarthy.
And Jaden Daniels is back this week, so they should have an uptick on the other side that Minnesota might have to
throw.
This is so hard because I really don't know who I would. I mean, the obvious answer is Justin Jefferson is who's you're going to start between Michael Wilson and Justin Jefferson, but is it obvious? I don't know.
It isn't. Yeah,
It's scary.
At
I
what
don't
point does it
trust it.
transition into being like a name value thing versus actual value?
He's been extremely disappointing, but he hasn't been soul crushing except for last week, and then there was 2 weeks where it was under 10. Other than that, he was at least over 10.
Yeah, but that's not what
So
you
yeah,
want for
this
the
is
guy
probably
that
one of those.
probably spent a first rounder on, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is probably one of those don't overthink it moments where hopefully you got a better answer, but like, yeesh.
Yeah. So if you're at the point where you have if you've been starting him this whole time, don't bench him now, right? Like if you haven't made the decision,
because then he's gonna do it.
Yeah, because that's when he's gonna do it. But if you've already benched him for the last couple weeks because you called it and you benched him, this might be the week that you consider put him back in the lineup, even though last week didn't give you any sign of hope that
you're saying you dodged the bullet. So
you dodged the bullets already. You did the job.
Yep.
But you still got. I think you play in this week.
You don't want to. Yeah. Okay. So this is one of those moments where one of my tips for fantasy for my friends and neighbors when they ask is when they're kind of debating between multiple players. Who would hurt more scoring on your bench? Would Michael Wilson hurt more scoring on your bench, or would Justin Jefferson scoring more hurt more? I would be kicking myself, and it would haunt me if I missed the playoffs because I sat my star wide receiver. I could live with it if I trusted him and put him in, and Michael Wilson did great.
I could see that understanding. You do tend to play a lot more emotionally, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you on where that lands this week.
It's passion.
We'll take it.
All right. Okay, cool. So Brenton Strange is a tight end that's coming up that he's been really solid. You saw it coming, right? And it wasn't something that was a total secret. For those who listen, the top 20% of your league that actually go out and listen to some different sources and podcasts and looking up, it wasn't a secret to them. But the question was Hunter and Brian Thomas at the same time while Strange is coming back, and then one goes down and you're like, well, Brian Thompson's down too, but he'll be back. And then they sign Jacoby Meyers. You're like, okay, I think that kills Strange. But then Brian Thomas isn't performing well. Jacoby Meyers is. But I don't think Brian Thomas has really. I don't think he's toast. I don't think this is I think the problem is that they haven't figured out their relationship. I went back and looked at last year, and Brian Thomas and Lawrence. When Brian Thomas broke out, it wasn't Lawrence with him. Every time he had those great games, he just doesn't throw that short toss to him. So I'm afraid of there's good news and bad news. Good news is it's not Brian Thomas. It's their connection. Bad news is, are they going to fix their connection? And if not, can they trade Brian Thomas to the Chiefs or to Buffalo, please? But in the meantime, right now, we've got Strange here, Brenton Strange, and he's a solid option for them. You don't need that much from a tight end that you're picking up off waivers or you just picked up recently to be impactful to your fantasy football team. He's got back-to-back top 5 finishes, and he's going against the Colts defense, which is 31st in yards against the tight end. So he's got another opportunity, and I don't know if Brian Thomas and Lawrence figure it out right now already. Even if they do, there's still room for him to do great.
And I think people forget before the injury, because he was out for so long, 5 weeks plus the bye. And he got injured in the game before that. He was having a good season to start off, right? He was already a trusted receiver. He's who they're going to deeper down the middle and kind of the intermediate, even sideline passes. So he's someone that's available in over 30% of leagues right now. Someone that's sitting out there. Folks aren't using him. I actually have him in a couple leagues where he's in a flex spot for me because injuries suck. So yeah, he's in a flex spot for me in a couple leagues where I have Bowers or I have Warren. But Strange, I think, is someone that Lawrence has proven to trust whenever he's out there. He's wavered between wide receivers, but he's not wavered from his tight end yet this season.
Who is your favorite tight end this week that is not the superstars?
This is sketch, but I think I'd have to go. Brenton Strange would have been my guy, but I think I'd have to go.
Maybe Waller.
Yeah. Yeah, Waller's an option. I do like, and this guy has goosed us over the years. And I said at the beginning of this year, if this year isn't the year, then it's not going to be any year that he comes back to his rookie season. So I'm going to put some faith back into Mr. Kyle Pitts, because this week
is this recency bias?
A little bit, but that's what we were looking for, right? We're looking for week 14. Recency, we're looking for now, right? I'm not telling you I'm not telling you that he is the tight end you want to have in your keeper dynasty league. I'm telling you, if you need some points in week 14, that's what the show's all about. Let's get you into the playoffs. If he's available or he's been sitting on your bench because you've been holding on to hope for him to be somebody. He's getting Seattle this week, who really struggles against tight ends, right? So it's an opportunity there. He's not going to goose egg you, hopefully. And they don't get London back this week. So that just opens up opportunities back into the pass game, right? So London is officially out. That sucks. That hurt like 3 teams that I'm on. I have Drake London. Then
I hate when players come back during the playoffs. You want them to come back week 14,
right?
So you can see it first. Make sure that they ramp up. That first week being in the playoffs is so depressing. And you might have that with Benson. I don't know if Benson plays again though this year. I think he might be out.
This is a complete sidebar conversation and way off script. But we're talking about a couple of guys who we're waiting for to come back into the playoffs. And this segues into something that happened to us very recently. I want to talk about this trade that we pulled off.
Do you have it pulled up? Do I need to pull it up?
Let's talk about this trade, which in the end, I'll admit, isn't helping me the way that I was hoping, but I want to talk about the risk that I took here.
Most of the players that you gave me have not played yet. So here's what you look for it. So here's what the situation was. He sent me a trade. I rebutted, and we got to a point where what he was trying to do, being on the outside of the playoffs looking in this 14-team Superflex league, was take a risk trading players that he knows will be better if they all come back healthy and play, but he needed to win now, and there's only like 2 or 3 weeks left. And he didn't have the luxury at all of waiting for them to come back. If he waited and held on to those better players, he wouldn't have made the playoffs, most likely. If he traded them for worse players that are starting now, he had an actual shot at the playoffs. And it infuriated our league. One person.
It infuriated one person, but other people saw their point. And at the very minimum, from the reactions that we got, there were folks out there that were like, this is an odd trade. But just to lay it out there, and when we say the names right now, and like Arlen's saying, like, worst players that are playing now, like, the reality is, like, they weren't really that even off of skill set or like expected points and trade and draft value, all of those things. So here's the trade. Okay. I gave up knowing that I had 3 weeks to make the playoffs, and had a long shot already. I had a long shot to make the playoffs. I gave up Jamar Chase, who is the key
superstar
of this whole thing. Superstar, key of this whole thing, right? Because I was hurting and struggling at the running back position. And mind you, this is a super flex league. I gave up Jamar Chase. 14-team super flex league. I gave up Jamar Chase, Trey Benson, Omarion Hampton.
Will not be playing this year.
And Ricky Pearsall. Okay.
Benson and Hampton. One player is worth anything in that trade that I got right now. Hampton will be. Benson probably won't play. Pearsall looks like I dropped him in a league.
Yeah. He's not. Yeah. He's a throw in here. What I got back, so what I needed to start playing today, was Bijan Robinson, Jackson Dart in a super flex.
14-team super flex.
And then Darius Slayton as the additional throw-in, who's actually been doing great the last couple weeks. Okay?
I think so far, especially for what you're going for, it was a good trade for you. And I think that since Benson's probably not going to play and Pearsall is cuttable, I traded Dart and Bijan and Slayton for Hampton and Chase. I think he's won the trade. Like,
Yeah.
we'll see if Hampton comes back and how he does, but I think you won the trade.
When we went into making this trade, we walked out thinking the other person probably won the trade in the long term, right? Like we both felt that way. And that's probably
what you call a good
trade, right?
Yeah.
And for me, like, unfortunately, still probably not going to make the playoffs, but this team, though getting those two players, have netted better than Jamar Chase by himself, which is what Arlen has, and gave me a better shot.
I want people's opinion on this one, because it went straight to collusion talk, and I'm going to throw him under the bus here. He, in the Pick'em League, you saw my email about I won a few weeks in a row. This guy who was complaining, calling us collusion, and like it's sketchy and horrible and what should be vetoed and all this crap, which we don't do vetoes anyways. But he has a Pick'em League. I won a couple weeks in a row. This one I tied with 3 people, and it was split. And then I looked at their scores that they projected, and mine was 1 point under the actual total. The same with the other dude, and then one other person was 1 over. And I jokingly replied all into the email saying I thought this was Jeopardy rules. It would have netted me $8. I'm not serious. He texted me like, "Hey, can we just keep that offline and like you and I can like talk or something?" When I texted him when he was calling for collusion, I was like, "Hey, I think you're being a little like personal on these attacks. Like, can we talk this out so like don't rile up an entire league, get all mad and everything? Like, you're being rude at this point." He said, "I don't need a sidebar with you," and wouldn't respond to me. Sorry, this is me venting as a grown man about fantasy football, but what? Come on, man. He did apologize after that, though. When I texted him that, he was like, "You're right. I didn't. That wasn't right." And I'm sorry.
Yeah. So we're laying out our laundry a little bit here, but Arlen and I, we think similarly. We may play a little differently, but the one thing that we hold in high regard, both of us, for how we approach fantasy football is a certain level of integrity. And so we were a little triggered when collusion terms started getting thrown around. And when we looked at this trade, I did never in my deepest dreams did I think there was going to be that much drama. Maybe people didn't understand the rationale, and that's fine. I'm happy to talk rationale. I'll put it out there on internet for the old internet to tear us apart on, but that's crazy.
You know what he said to me when he texted back during this, like just the other day? He had gone over some of his responses. He's like, "It just looked like he was trying to help your team out." And I said, there is nobody I play fantasy football with that would like to help me less than Nate. We are the most competitive against each other specifically. There is absolutely no way you will ever have to worry about Nate wanting me to do well. Come on. I want you to do well, Nate, in only the leagues that you're not in with me. And the ones I can watch, I want you to burn. I want you to make great choices that in the end didn't work out at all. Sound logic, horrible execution.
I think this is exactly what we're talking about right now. Like, I made a decision that I feel like made my team better. It's not going to net me into the playoffs, but hopefully I jokingly said in the chat, this will make me better for the consolation bracket, because we do have a prize associated with the consolation bracket in that league, I think. And he still wasn't having that either. And I was like, oh, okay.
Weak. All right. Well, next
Sorry
up,
for
we've
the
got...
sidebar, everybody.
Yeah. There's a few people left here, and they're like, I don't know if I want to be entering this raffle to be in one of your guys' leagues. It sounds horrible. It happens once a year in one of the leagues. All right. Next up, playoffs. Getting you ready for it. Who should you pick up? Who should you grab? But that will not be this episode. That's going to be the next one. All right, guys. It's been real. I'm Arlen. This is Nate. You've been listening to the Fantasy Football Lab.
Peace.
I usually do a song.
Oh, wait. Before the song even comes up, actually, did we even say that we'll remember to respond to you whenever you hit us in the comments? And
we didn't, but every time you comment, we're there with you. We like the conversation, keeping it community. Holla, y'all.